Pay attention to this. There are moments when you were completely sure about something. Then after talking to someone, you weren't anymore. Not because new information was added, but because something about the conversation made you question yourself. And you didn't notice when that shift happened. It usually starts small. Someone corrects you. That's not what happened. You're remembering it wrong. Nothing aggressive. Nothing obvious. And that's why you don't react to it. The real change isn't in what they say. It's in what happens after. You start replaying the moment, trying to figure out where you went wrong. Did I misunderstand? Did I miss something? And just like that, you move from certainty to doubt. Now imagine this happening again and again, not in obvious ways, in subtle ones, small corrections, small contradictions. Each one on its own feels insignificant, but together they create something else. A pattern where you stop trusting your first thought. At some point, you don't even need the other person anymore because the doubt is already there. You second guess yourself automatically. You hesitate before speaking. You start filtering your own thoughts before anyone else can. This doesn't feel like manipulation. It feels like you're just being careful, more thoughtful, more aware, more accurate. But underneath that, something else is happening. You're slowly disconnecting from your own sense of certainty. And here's the part most people miss. The goal isn't to change your memory. It's to change how much you trust it. Not what you remember, but how confident you feel about it. Because once that confidence is gone, everything becomes easier to question. So the next time this happens, don't rush to correct yourself. And notice something different. Where did the doubt start? What changed in that moment? Because right now, your first instinct might be, I'm probably wrong. But what if that thought didn't start with you? This doesn't mean you stop questioning yourself. It means you become aware of when that questioning feels unnatural, sudden, unfamiliar, inserted. Because the most important shift is not proving yourself right. It's noticing when you stop trusting yourself. And once you see that clearly, the next time doubt shows up, you won't immediately follow it. You'll question it. And that's where the pattern starts to break. If this made you question something, don't ignore that. Most people will feel this, then scroll and go right back to doubting themselves. Nothing changes for them. But if you want to actually understand what's shaping your thoughts and start seeing it clearly, subscribe and hit the like button. Because once you begin to notice these patterns, you stop being controlled by them without even realizing it. And this is where it goes further. Because it's not just about a few moments of doubt. It's about what those moments turn into over time. At first, you notice it, the hesitation, the second guessing. Something feels slightly off, but you can't fully explain it. So you adjust. You start being more careful, more precise with your words, more cautious with your reactions. You explain yourself more. You double-check what you say, not because you want to, but because you don't want to be wrong. And then something else happens. You begin filtering your thoughts before you say them, not out loud, internally. That might not be right. I should rethink that. And this happens so quickly, you don't even notice it anymore. Now your confidence changes. Not dramatically, gradually. You speak less directly. You hesitate more often. You leave room for correction, even when you were sure before. At this point, you start relying on something outside of you. Not completely, but just enough. You look for confirmation. You wait for agreement because it feels safer than trusting your first instinct. And this is where the real shift happens. You become slightly disconnected from your own perspective, what you think, what you feel. Not gone, just less certain. This is difficult to notice because nothing looks extreme. There's no clear moment where everything changes, no obvious line crossed, just small adjustments, stacking over time. And the more this happens, the more natural it feels. Because now, this is how you operate. You question first. You trust later, if at all. But then there's a moment. Not loud, not dramatic. Just a realization that you weren't always like this. You start remembering how you used to think, how quickly you used to respond, how certain you used to feel, without hesitation, without second guessing. And the difference becomes clear. So instead of asking, "Am I wrong?" you ask something else. When did I start doubting myself like this? And that question changes your position. You're no longer inside the pattern. You're observing it, seeing it happen, recognizing it in real time. And once you see it, something subtle shifts. You don't immediately react the same way. You don't automatically correct yourself. You pause. You notice. Because this isn't about forcing confidence. It's about recognizing when that confidence was slowly taken from you. And once you see that clearly, the next time doubt shows up, you won't immediately accept it. You'll question it. And that's where you begin to separate what's yours from what isn't. At this point, you've seen the pattern, how it starts small, how it builds quietly, how it changes how you think without you noticing. It was never about forcing you to believe something new. It was about making you doubt what you already knew. Because once that doubt is there, everything else becomes easier to influence. But here's the part that matters. That doubt you feel now, it doesn't always belong to you. It was learned, repeated, reinforced, until it started sounding like your own voice. That hesitation, that second guessing, that quiet, "maybe I'm wrong," it didn't start as you. And once you see that clearly, something changes. Not all at once, but enough. Because now, when that doubt shows up, you don't automatically follow it. You stop and you ask, "Is this actually mine?" And that question might be the first time in a long time that you're not being pulled away from yourself, but brought back to it. And maybe this wasn't just information. Maybe something in this video felt familiar, not because it was new, but because it's been happening quietly for longer than you realized. The hesitation, the second guessing, that moment where you stop And don't trust what you felt anymore. That wasn't random, and it wasn't always there. But now you've seen it. And once you see it, something changes. Not perfectly, not instantly, but enough to pause the next time that doubt shows up, enough to question it, enough to notice it, enough to start coming back to yourself. So tell me this: have you ever had a moment where you were sure about something and then suddenly you weren't? I want to know what that felt like for you in the comments section. See you next, tomorrow.